It's time to bring you all the most requested review since I started Review Raja. That's right, I'm about to talk about Naan. So there's really only 3 characters that are of importance in this film. We've got Nani who plays Nani, we've got Sudeep who plays Sudeep, and then we've got Samantha who plays Bindu. But I did want to mention before I go on to them that Sandhanam is in this film. He's only got about a 10-minute little skit he does, but he's still in it. So first off, we've got Nani. So what can I say about this character? He's a very, I guess, quirky, down-to-earth guy who falls in love with this girl. And I do think that his acting was on point for the most part, but there was some unbelievable moments, especially in the love romance. I think the action scenes itself, we don't really get to see him play those because he actually turns into the Fly about a quarter way through the movie. So you can expect some really wicked moves by the Fly's behalf, but you don't really see that from the main character. He's absolutely in love with Bindu. This guy would do anything for her. I'm talking anything. He almost came across fake on screen, always smiling and bubbly and dreaming about this girl. It just didn't work for me in that sense. And when it came to his dancing, guys, it struggled. His character does build though. I mean, at the beginning, like I said, he was a bit fake, but as you get to know the character, he becomes this lovable guy, and that's just the way he is. Sort of like me. Just as I started liking this character, something does happen that twists the whole movie around, and he becomes a Fly. Enough about Nani, let's move on to Bindu. So, Bindu. What can I say about Bindu? I will start by saying, super cute in this role. She comes across as a very introverted person that likes to keep to herself, always working on these intricate little things. Come on. That's right, she's a micro artist. If you ever thought your job was frustrating, try hers. So Bindu finally comes to her senses after leading Nani on throughout the beginning of the movie, and she falls in love with him. But then there's a twist. Something bad happens. What is that? Oh, freaking Fly. If you've ever wanted to be a millionaire, you don't want to be like this next character, Sudeep. This guy is a womanizer in this film. He comes across as this really cocky and arrogant businessman who thinks he can get anything he wants. You know, his acting on a whole was pretty good. There were some cheesy moments. I will say when he gets angry, he does a lot of this. Did I mention how red and bloodshot his eyes get when he gets angry? Not quite sure how he did that. Maybe it's a director's trick. You tell me. All jokes aside, guys, Sudeep did a very, very quality job. For what he had to do when he was being attacked by the Fly constantly, I guess his movements, his actions came across very believable. I thought he was struggling with something bothering him constantly around his head, left, right, and center. And that, I guess, enhanced the overall storyline, especially because it was so involved with this 3D animation. So what am I going to give the Nani crew for my rating? I'm going to give them a 6.5 out of 10. So now we're on to the story, and this one was written by a guy named S.S. Rajamouli and Crazy Mohan. Now let me tell you a little bit how this storyline started. It was about 15 years ago now that S.S. Rajamouli's father told him this as a joke. He planted the seed in his head, the technology wasn't good enough, and now he had the opportunity to bring us what we know now as Nani. Never in a million years did I think a storyline about a housefly, about someone coming back to life as a housefly, would be a major hit. And never did I think I would like it as much as I did. So now to give you an overview on the storyline. Basically, we've got Nani who likes Bindu. Bindu does love him back, but tries not to show it. Then we see the love relationship developing in the first half of the story. Once Sudeep comes in as the bad guy, shakes things up, we get this occurrence that happens. And I won't tell you what it is because that's a major part of the storyline. In the second half of the movie, you can see Nani come back as a 3D fly and take his revenge on Sudeep. Yeah, that's my favorite part of the movie and I'm sure it will be yours. So, overall, this was a simple story, simple plot, and the characters didn't have extremely complex roles. But I really enjoyed the storyline for this one, which made it unique. It's not so much the storyline as it was the concept behind the fly and the technology that went into this film. So, what am I going to give this one? I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. This film wasn't only written by, but was also directed by S.S. Rajamouli. He did a wonderful job. He, I guess, really captured the moments correctly. And when I say that, I'm referring back to what I said earlier when I talked about how Sudeep had to handle the pressure of the fly always being around him. That took some skill not only by the actor, but took some very precise direction from S.S. Rajamouli. What I thought was very impressive from the director's standpoint is how he seamlessly integrated the 3D technology with the live characters. He would have had to have, I guess, projected his vision to the team of how he wanted this animation to interact with live humans. Then that shifts to Sudeep, who had to deal with the constant nag of this fly. Those two pieces of the puzzle together is what made this a quality movie. Being your debut in the Tamil cinema industry, I'll first off congratulate you, and second off, I'll give you my rating. You're getting a 7.5 out of 10. The cinematography for this film by K.K. Senthilkumar was unbelievable. It's one of my favorite parts of this whole movie, and the reason I loved it so much was because the lighting and the angles came together flawlessly. Being the cinematographer for this film was very, very difficult. Imagine having to capture the fly's point of view. I guarantee you'll be as impressed as I was with this one. Because of those angles that he was able to capture, you were really drawn into the life of this fly, which developed the character of the fly into someone that you could almost relate to. It's sort of weird. I also wanted to touch on the slow motion parts of this movie. When they came into play, it really made the scene extremely epic. From something simple like kicking a pile of leaves where you're drawn into the moment with them. It really worked well, and I thought he did a fantastic job. Lastly, I think this film was able to save a lot of cash just based on the fact that the cinematographer was able to take simple locations, use extremely elegant angles and lighting, and bring them to a level that, took the movie to the next step. So for that, because I enjoyed your cinematography so much, I'm going to give you an 8 out of 10. Because this film had such amazing special effects, we've created the category for it, so let me tell you about it. The special effects revolving around the creation of the fly were next to none. From the detail on the fly and the little hairs and the wings and hatching out of the egg, everything was on point. It was very realistic, guys, and you'll love it. One of the most interesting aspects of the fly were the emotions that it conveyed on screen. This fly had its own little personality. You actually felt that there was a person attached to the soul of this bug, from it winking at us, laughing, creating messages. Everything you could think that a human would do in a fly situation, as odd as that is to think of, it it really did come across on screen believable. Pete Draper brings us this visual extravaganza, and you may remember his name from movies like Endrin and Ulam Aravu. This guy's on fire and brought us something that we won't forget. In recent history, this is one of the most talked about visual experiences, at least I've seen in the past year. They spent 5 crores on the visual effects in this film, and that just tells me once we get some bigger budget films in play, we can expect a lot. This aligns perfectly with the standards of Hollywood and other film industries around the world. I'm super excited for what's in store in the future, especially I want to see what Rajni has up his sleeve for Kochadine. Because the film thrived on the visual effects that we saw, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. The music in this film was done by M.M. Kiravan, and I would say it had some positive energy. It wasn't anything outrageously new and super innovative, but I thought it did contribute a fair bit to the film. M.M. Kiravan has been in the Telugu industry for quite some time and has a long list of features that he's been a part of. This is only one of a few movies in the Tamil cinema industry that he's been a part of. So I want to give you a little bit of a round of applause for joining the team. That's right, the Kollywood team. You could really see the background music come into play when The Fly was on screen. Because you're dealing with a 3D animation and the interaction between that and Sudeep for the most part, you really want to carry the energy from on screen to off screen. I think that he did this, quite well throughout the film. Especially the love scenes, they were jolly, they were fun, they really do get you smiling while you're watching it. But for the most part, I would say it was just alright. There was nothing extremely jumping out at me on screen, or there wasn't any low moments. It was just pretty streamlined throughout the film. I know you have a lot of experience creating music in the Telugu industry, so I'm not going to sit here and judge you and pick the music apart. I think this music was really focused on the background scores, not so much as hit singles that you would listen to after watching the film. So I think that's what was missing for me. Whenever I watch a film that's hype and has the energy and the aspects that I like, I always want to walk away humming the song or playing the song over and over again. To me, that signifies something great. So that wasn't there for me, but you did a quality job throughout the film. So now to give you a rating. What are we going to give you? I'm going to give you a 6.5 out of 10. So now it's time I give you my little recap and then I tell you my overall rating. Well guys, first I want to start by saying I wish I had watched this movie far in advance of now because it really was as good as you were all telling me. This was amazing cinematography, amazing special effects, the acting was good, the direction was good, the music was alright, and you know what? I think that it's far worth the money that you probably spent at the theater. So, what am I going to give this film? I'm going to give it a 7.2 out of 10. And remember, this is Review Raja certified. Guys, before I go, I got some big news for you. First off, I want to start by saying thank you to everyone who submitted a short film to our contest. This was truly an awesome turnout. We got over 150 submissions, and yes, I am watching every single one to find the one that I think is the best. I can't wait to give my review on that. Next, guess what? There was always one thing that was bothering me when I started this project, and it was the fact that I couldn't get ReviewRaja.com and ReviewRaja on Twitter. Well, I am excited to say it's finally ours. We have ReviewRaja.com, and now my Twitter account, if you go check it right now, it used to be Movie Review Raja, but now it's Review Raja. So everything's streamlined, consistent, and it makes it easier for you to find me and connect with me. Super excited about that. Hope you check it out. And don't forget, now you can check me out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on YouTube under one name. That's right, Review Raja.
Raja, yeah, Raja, you Raja, Raja.